Hello and welcome to the Daniel Ricciardo career mode for episode 4 now for the Bahrain Grand Prix. As you can see, we're second in the drivers' standings, and in FP3 we were only fifth, and Sebastian Vettel and Felipe Massa did only do times on the prime tyres. And this little incident happened in practice as I was coming into the pits. We managed to hit an invisible wall on the entrance to the pits at the Bahrain International Circuit. So yeah, managed to hit the invisible wall. Luckily we don't take any damage, but we were coming into the pits at the end of the session anyway. But a little bit of a bizarre glitch. In Q1 we got through on the primes, only 13th place. We didn't have good pace, but Stevens, Mary, Alonso, Nasser and Ericsson were all knocked out. In Q2 we qualified, we were 4th on the option tyre with Button, Verstappen, Hulkenberg, Grosjean and Maldonado all being knocked out. I do apologise, I messed up with the recording of the Q2 lap, but it was a decent lap anyway. Q3, we didn't set an amazing lap time for our first lap. I think it was only a 33.8, and as you can see, this is on our out lap coming to the end, and we only just make the checkered flag. We make the checkered flag by not even not with like 0.001 to spare or something. We're really cutting it fine in terms of the lap, but as you can see, we come through turns 1 and 2, and we're coming through turn 3 now. And this was my best lap of the weekend. In fact, we did have a glitch. This is the second time I did Q3 because I did my first lap, and then the game crashed, so I had to do the rest of Q3 again. So that's the lap that we just saw, the 33.8. And this lap was we were really struggling with the back end through the S's section on this Bahrain circuit. The quick change of direction and the back end on the Red Bull just didn't want to stick, and we ran a little bit wide. That corner there is a really difficult corner. The triple apex left-hander, arguably one of the most difficult circuits in Formula 1. Really difficult corner. We're also running with 1-1 wings this weekend, which is why we're struggling through some of the high-speed corners, because we don't have the downforce, because we've got to compensate for our Renault engine. And in practice, even with the DRS open, the Ferraris, the Williams and the Mercedes were all quicker than us. So straight line speed is going to be something we're going to be really struggling with this weekend because of our Renault power unit. As you can see now, we're just coming through to the end of the lap. We took a bit too much speed through the final corner, ran a little bit wide, and we're going to come now to see, and we're going to put in a 133 dead, I think, 133.0.18 or something. And that's in fact good enough to put us in 4th place for the Grand Prix. Daniel Ricciardo, very happy indeed. And it was a pleasant welcome surprise. And Nico Rosberg did take pole position for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Welcome to Sakhir for the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix. We hope you're ready for an exciting evening's action. After yesterday's qualifying session, it's Nico Rosberg who's put himself in the driving seat for the race, securing pole position with a thumping lap when it mattered.
He was driving on another level yesterday, so it wouldn't be a surprise if he just pulls away from the field and is untouchable. But as we know, anything can happen in Formula 1, so we'll just have to wait and see.
A very good performance in the last Grand Prix saw Daniel Ricciardo bring home the 25 points. Do you think he can do it again today?
Well, he's certainly brimming with confidence. We caught up with him yesterday in the Red Bull motorhome, and he was in a bullish mood about his prospects in today's race. I wouldn't bet against him doing it again.
So our teammate, Danny Kvyat, made the top 10, as did Sergio Perez and Carlos Sainz. So some big names. Also some underdogs in the top 10, but as you can see, we're here with the 5 red lights for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and we're away. And it looks like we've had a bit of it's not the best start we've ever had. We're going to stick it up into rich mix to try and compensate. We've got a Williams of Valtteri Bottas on our left hand side. We're just going to break a little bit late and go up the inside of Kimi Raikkonen, and so we've taken 3rd place. I was hoping for a bit of a better start, but as you can see, the two Mercedes have gone side by side. They've almost made contact, and Lewis Hamilton hasn't had a good run at all going through turn 3. We're going to take 2nd place, and we're now going to be late on the brakes, diving up the inside of Nico Rosberg, and we're going to take the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix after only 4 corners. Hamilton's up to 2nd, Raikkonen's up to 3rd. Nico Rosberg, we didn't push him wide. He turned down to the corner and dropped all the way down to 4th place. And as you can see, we've just locked up going into there. We've made a little bit of contact with Lewis Hamilton, and Hamilton has kind of, I think he's half spun it. He's dropped down into about 9th or 10th place in this Grand Prix. So Hamilton's got a lot of work to make up on. But we have the lead. And it was kind of what I was hoping for. You know, I wanted to get a good qualifying position, which we did, but we didn't get the start. So we weren't able to kind of dive bomb it up into turn 1. In fact, we were more or less defending. Here is a replay, though, of the start. And as you can see, Valtteri Bottas had a good start. We got Maldonado in the Lotus, and I think that's the Williams of Felipe Massa pulling out. And we kind of stick it up the inside. Kimi leaves us the space. And you can see here, Hamilton just gets forced wide, doesn't have the run onto this kind of mini straight. So we're able to, even with our Renault engine against the Mercedes, the works Mercedes, we're able to get past him. And then we dive it up the inside, and there's the bollard going flying. And Rosberg drops down to about 4th place, and even off the back of Kimi Räikkönen. Here is Rosberg's view of the start. So he had a good getaway. Ignore the glitch with the tyres. Rosberg's car had it for the whole race on the replay cameras, where in the first stint where his tyres were switching between primes and options. I can tell you that Rosberg did start on the option tyre. So if he's got primes on, I wouldn't, don't worry about it. And as you can see, he just leaves us the space. He left the space was there anyway, because we were able to force the gap, and he could have made it around the outside. So it's kind of bad driving from Rosberg's AI there. Here's the start from Lewis Hamilton. Couldn't quite get up the inside into turn 1. He had the inside line, but just couldn't really make it stick. This is where they almost touch, and he just kind of gets forced wide onto the curb. He lifts off, and that allows us, as you can see in the mirror, to pull alongside and dive it up the inside. And in fact, we were trying to leave Rosberg space. That's why we knocked the bollard over. But here's the view from Kimi Räikkönen, who we passed down into turn 1. He had a good start, Räikkönen, but he just didn't cover us off and allowed us to go up the inside. But now you get a good view of the two Mercedes almost making contact, and us getting a brilliant run on Lewis Hamilton. And so we've already got the move done on Hamilton by this point, and we just stick it up the inside. And Rosberg, as the bollard goes flying, Rosberg kind of says, yeah, why not, Lewis? Come on, Kimi, have the position. And now this is the replay of the contact with Lewis Hamilton just a few corners later. And personally, I don't really think there was much we could do. Lewis takes a tight line in, and of course he's always going to run out wide. We were obviously on the outside because we'd locked up. And there's our teammate going past Lewis, and he was very lucky not to make any... he made brief contact with, I think it was the Williams. So he was very lucky not to have wiped out going straight back onto the racing line. We cut onto lap 3 now, and it's taken midway through the 3rd lap for Nico Rosberg in the Mercedes to catch up to us. Rosberg did pass Kimi Räikkönen. I think it was at the end of the 1st lap. So we're now having to defend from Rosberg, and he's turned into us, so there's been contact made. So we've made contact with another Mercedes, as the tyre wear, as you briefly saw, is starting to kick in. But we have managed to defend from Rosberg. Here's a replay of that. We go defensive because we've got to defend the inside line just so we can stick it back up the inside. And you see here, Rosberg just turns into us. There is nothing we can do about it. Rosberg just dives straight for the apex, not realising that our car's there. So we're cut straight back to straight back onto lap 3 just after that contact's been made, and Rosberg's trying to get back past us, trying to take the lead of this Grand Prix back. And so as we come onto the pit straight, we're gonna have to stick it up into rich mix just to try and compensate for the lack of power that our engine's giving us. We haven't got enough power from our Renault engine, but Rosberg's there. We're squeezing him wide, trying to get him to lift off the throttle going down the straight. And now Kimi Räikkönen has got past the German in the Mercedes as we kind of forced Rosberg out wide. A lap later, we're now defending from Kimi Räikkönen. We haven't managed to get to the inside well enough. We're defending like we didn't defend very well. And Räikkönen brakes so early, about 50 metres too early. We drive straight into the back of him. We've received no damage, thankfully. Räikkönen's still in the race as well. He's just dropped to 3rd. And I did think about giving the position back, but I did look on the replay, and Kimi Räikkönen brakes about 50 metres before the corner. And I know that because I have the corner line on, and it tells you where to brake. So halfway through the lap on lap 5, we're defending again from Nico Rosberg in the Mercedes. We're going to try and dive it back up the inside, but Rosberg is going to try and hold it around the outside, which is about to turn to the inside line. We're now on the outside. We can't make it stick around the outside, so we're going to have to try and battle past the Mercedes as we get quite a decent run through there. We ran a little bit wider than we would have liked, but we're now in the slipstream. We hopefully will get the DRS, but we're not even going to wait for the DRS straight on the pit straight. We're going to dive it back up the inside of Nico Rosberg. Rosberg isn't going to get a good run onto the straight. We're just in case we're going to stick it up into Rich Mix, and we've got the DRS as well. And here is a replay of that side by side for the whole of the final sector. And I don't know how Nico Rosberg held it around the outside through that fast right-hander and then was able to keep his line. But he was a bit tight going into the penultimate corner, and with the slipstream effect, which is quite powerful on F1 2015, we were able to get it back up the inside. And it meant that Rosberg didn't have a very good run onto the straight and left him under pressure from Kimi Raikkonen in the Ferrari. As we now cut onto the end of lap 6, we are coming into the pits at the end of this lap. Rosberg is already having a look, and we're going to come straight into the pits. Rosberg and Raikkonen are staying out. Hamilton and Vettel have followed us in. So Lewis Hamilton, despite falling down to just inside the top 10 at the end of the first lap, is already up in contention for a podium now. So, and he's jumped Sebastian Vettel in the pits, as we've dropped to about 8th place. With cars still yet to make their stops, make that P9 now as we come out of the pit lane, and we've got a lot of work to do. We've stuck it up into Rich Mix for this lap, as we've just put it into Rich Mix for this straight as well, as we're coming now onto the start of lap 8. Everyone else has made their pit stop. There is Nico Rosberg, but we're still only into P2 because Jenson Button in the McLaren Honda leads the Bahrain Grand Prix. Jenson did start on the prime tyre, so he's yet to make his pit stop. He'll be pitting at the end of this lap because it's only a 25% race. But we're not even going to wait for the DRS and for Jenson to make his pit stop. We're already going past the 2009 Formula 1 World Champion before we even get to the final corner. So we've now got a bit of a buffer. We've got about a 3-second buffer as we can see in our mirrors. JB going into the pits. That will put Nico Rosberg in second, and Lewis Hamilton is third, and this is on the start of lap 9. Lewis Hamilton coming past Nico Rosberg. You got Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen doing the same into turn 1, but Rosberg's going to hold it around the outside, as is Kimi Raikkonen in the background. The two Mercedes bang wheels going through turn 2, so the two Mercedes make contact for what could be the second time in this race, as Rosberg does hold off Lewis Hamilton into turn 4. On the very next lap, here comes Lewis Hamilton again in the slipstream of Nico Rosberg as they come down to turn 1. There's us going through with about a 3-second buffer. Rosberg again trying to hold it around the outside, and Lewis, I think they make contact again for the third time in this race. The two Ferraris in the background are going all at it as well as some dust gets kicked up. And now as they come into turn 4, they're going to make contact again. Lewis slides a little bit. That's 4 times now they've made contact. And now onto the very next lap, lap 11. Lewis is going to try the same move again. Rosberg's going to have to try and hold it around the outside as they come into turn 1. They're so close. It's like Bahrain 2014. As they come through here, they have made contact, and finally one of the cars has come off worse. Hamilton is in the gravel and has dropped well outside the points now. He's down in about 16th place and has continued, and as you can see, it's just a bit of a racing incident. Rosberg didn't really leave him the space and they made contact. Rosberg has kind of squeezed him out. They've made contact. Lewis has gone flying across the circuit through the gravel, and that's one Mercedes already out of the points. And then, believe it or not, just a corner later, Nico Rosberg has a gearbox failure and is out of this Grand Prix. It wasn't an engine failure, so I can only presume it's gearbox related. And he just pulls over to the side. So Nico Rosberg is out of this Grand Prix. As you can see, we're down to 18 runners in the Grand Prix. And this is the final lap. We weren't challenged at all in the second stint, and we're going to come to take our second win in a row. So we've won our second race of the season, our second race in a row. And we've won from Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel in the Ferraris. Then Valtteri Bottas, our teammate Danny Kvyat got 5th place, so a solid 10 points for the constructors. Then Maldonado's in the points, Felipe Nasr, Hulkenberg and Carlos Sainz as well. Hamilton only finished 11th. Merry and Rosberg DNF'd. Felipe Massa had a puncture midway through the second stint, so he finished down in 18th place. So in terms of the championship, this has been a really good race for us, because we now lead the Drivers' World Championship, and also Nico Hulkenberg had a penalty for ignoring yellow flags in that race as well, and I think that was to do with the yellow flags surrounding Felipe Massa's puncture. But Romain Grosjean didn't score points, but Maldonado did, and there's confirmation of us leading the World Championship by 4 points from Lewis Hamilton. Sebastian Vettel in 3rd, then Kimi Raikkonen. Nico Rosberg down in 6th place, just ahead of our teammate. And in the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull are now up to 3rd. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you for the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. So until next time, guys, I will see you around, and goodbye.